Welcome to today's episode of the Streamline podcast. My guest is Grahame Farmer, an industry legend, founder of Data Transmission, and so many other things, so many other hats in this industry that the intro would be too long. We would need to go into a second episode. Grahame, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hello, how are you? You all right?
I'm great, mate. I am fantastic. I am tickety-boo. I'm so happy to be chatting to you again.
Did you have a nice Christmas?
Mate, I had a fantastic Christmas. I didn't do anything.
You know what? I did the same. I have 2 weeks at Christmas. I just shut the laptop. I switch off everything. I actually had a week off of social media as well. I didn't post anything on social media. I kind of popped on there briefly, but wasn't in it. My screen time went down to like 10 minutes or something.
Wow.
And I had a week of just being offline completely, and it was lovely. It was refreshing.
And now here you are on 5 different feeds at the same time. And it's funny, we were saying before, can you still say Happy New Year? I believe you can.
Go for it. Happy New Year.
Second week of January, it's over.
Yeah, once you go past the tree coming down, that's it. That's the end of the happinesses.
Excellent. Well, Grahame, for anybody that isn't familiar with yourself and your story, could you tell us sort of how you got into this crazy industry and a little about yourself as well, of course?
Yeah, so I started in the music industry about 16, 17 years ago. I started a nightclub in London called Turnmills. Before that, I was just a regular clubber. I've been dancing on the dance floor probably since 96, maybe. And then I started at Turnmills in the mid-00s, like the last 5 years of the club, basically, with some kind of great artists come through there. We had, for anyone that's not aware of the club, it was one of the greatest clubs in London. We programmed in-house kind of a load of the nights. We had a few that were external, but most of the nights we programmed in-house. We had a regular Friday night, which was the gallery, which was a trance night, and then Saturdays were more electronic and house and techno, which was really cool. And I basically did all the online stuff for them, built all the websites, built all that. Back then it was all emails, it was all built all the e-flyers, and generally just kind of ran everything online. And then the club was coming to the close, and it was like what we're doing now. It actually, as part of Turnmills, we had like an actual print magazine called Data Transmission, which was basically kind of all the flyers for the club and kind of some interviews with some of the artists that were playing, just to kind of keep it all in one place. And then I sort of turned that into the website that now is Data Transmission. And that was, 12 years ago in February, we launched that. February the 1st, we launched that. So then at that time, it was basically Don't Stay In online. There was RA. There was a couple of other websites online, but there's not really much about it. We were one of the few. So we kind of interviewed a lot of people back then. We tried to do ticketing, but it didn't really work. And just became this big old blog that is Data Transmission today. Then kind of some of the other guys started popping online, like Mixmag at that time was just the front cover of the magazine. Same was DJ Mag. They sort of started building their online profile and obviously overtook because they were just bigger entities, and essentially I grew the business from there. And then a few years ago, we launched our own radio station. Myself and Sasha Wall, we built Data Transmission Radio. And we have our own radio station now, which has 150 different shows every month. And I launched a record label called Shanghai with a guy called Waxwork. And the last 2 years, I've been coaching DJs. I now coach 60 DJs, and I have I have my Instagram, Grahame Farmer, where I give out tips and advice every day to help people get through the music industry and learn more about the music industry. Everything kind of after you've made a record. There's a lot of motivation on there. I have my own YouTube channel, which again does the same. I do interviews and kind of ask questions around the music industry. Yeah, that's kind of where we're up to date then.
And so I guess the most pressing question, when do you sleep?
I finish at about 10 o'clock. Well, I finish at about 9 o'clock every night and sleep by about 10 o'clock. And then I get up at 4:45 and I start work at about 5-ish in the morning. And then, except for this morning when my alarm didn't go off and I didn't start till 7, and it's literally screwed up my whole day.
That's amazing. Well, you clearly love what you do, and you are very passionate. Otherwise, you wouldn't be working all day like this.
Oh yeah, I love it. It's a great industry to be in. You have to work hard in this industry to get where you want to go, but I'm fully into that, so it's cool.
That's it. And I'm grateful to be able to take up a chunk of your time today for this. To let you know, I've started putting some messages on the screen for those watching the video. We're getting some comments coming in on Periscope and Facebook, where we are live on LinkedIn, Periscope, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch right now. So we're kind of just trying to hit everyone, no matter where you are right now. If you're awake and you're online, okay, we've got people tuned in from all around the world right now. This is super cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I don't usually do these because I'm in the US now. I don't usually do these this early in the morning. So I'm getting some Australians tuning in as well, which is fantastic. Obviously, nighttime for them. Arlo, my friend Arlo, shout out to Arlo. Great to see you tuned in as well.
Cool. Hello.
And Chris Webb.
Hey, he's one of my coaches. Hi, Gay. Chris. Wicked.
Istanbul.
Amazing.
Wow, we are going around the world right now. Thank you for these comments and for tuning in right now. If you do have questions, obviously we will try and get to those as well and do a bit of a live Q&A. But for now, let's push on with this and keep going. Cool. So, wow. Okay, I'm going to stop looking at these comments for a minute because it just keeps going. We'll come back and we'll get some more of these up on the screen shortly. You know, you mentioned that sort of your main focus right now. Did you say it was about 60 artists that you have?
Yeah. So coaching wise, we launched it like 2 years ago, and essentially for about a year before that, I put out a lot of free content on Instagram. And at the end of the year, it was like, right, I'm going to take on 10, and that really went really, really quickly. It was really good. It was really the sign-up was amazing, and a load of those first 10 I'm still working with today, which is really cool. And they've had so much. We had so much success with loads of the artists last year, and I've just been growing it every month. Some people drop off, some people come in, some people, like some of the 60, they're in like resting periods where they're making more music, so they're kind of working away, and I don't need to speak to them at the moment. But some of them. So there's active ones and non-active, and yes, it regulates sort of thing, you know. Totally,
and I mean, 60 artists. That's quite the achievement as well. That's pretty cool to be part of their journey as well.
Oh, it's so fun.
Their own still, of course.
Yeah, it's so fun. I reckon we signed probably 50 records last year across those artists. I reckon there was so many gigs that came out of it. There was we put on some of our own gigs, or there we signed some of the records ourselves. But the plan is to help them get further, help them with social, help them build their brands, and help them sign some records to the right labels, and help them become, the DJs they want to be, and the artists they want to be.
Yeah, that's it. And, you can't be good at everything. If you're a great producer, you are probably terrible at staying up to date on social media.
Yeah.
Because you can't be good at both at the same time. But with the right information and the right support, you can get better at that. Whether somebody takes it over for you or whether somebody just tells you, hey, when you got 10 minutes each day, here's where you should invest that time to grow your socials.
Yeah.
So, that's really important. And especially for DJs, I mean, I should say DJ/producers, because you really do need to be social. It's your audience are out. They're attending gigs, they're going to concerts, they're posting it on social media. You want to make sure that you're a part of that community, and not just sort of hiding in the studio, pumping out those tracks, because you obviously, if you're getting out and playing, you want to make sure that you're reaching that audience as well.
Yeah, and also building your own network as well. Like we've done, I've taken some of my artists on school trips out. We go out to events, and we go and hang out in the backstage and meet some people that I know and kind of introduce some introductions. So that helps as well, and that helps them grow. Yes, Willie's one of my coaches.
Everyone's getting on board here. You're getting a lot of love today, man. I must say, I haven't seen this much love this quickly into a recording before, so I'm really enjoying this. obviously the time difference must be working in our favor as well, but you got a bit of a fan club, buddy.
They're my coachees. It's good to see. I put it into my Facebook group as well. So
nice, cool. So, what would you say your main point of focus is going to be for this year, for 2020? Where do you see yourself and your artists?
So for data transmission, the big game is always, let's try and break some artists. Let's build a platform that's big enough that we can go, we think this person's cool, and therefore the rest of the world go, yes. So that goal is, it won't happen this year. It might happen in the next 20 years. You know, it might happen in 2 years. Who knows? But that's the game. We find some artists that we like. We build a platform that's big enough that we can go, this is a cool person. Then there's just a load of micro goals that kind of help us to get to that thing. You know, it's like building up all of the different channels at the same time. It's creating content on those channels. It's learning more about creating the right content that delivers the right numbers. It's about building out these entities, you know. And then for artists, each of the artists. So in December, I met with most of the artists. We sort of worked out what their plans are for the next 12 months. Because each of them is all at different levels. Like there's some that are really like could pop this year. There's some that could pop next year. There's some that could pop the year after. You know, it's and there's some that might fade away in the middle of the year. You know, they're all in different journeys and they're all at different levels. So it's exciting to work with so many, but and it's exciting to see each one's journey.
Definitely, and I guess the key is you can't always predict when things will happen for them and they get to that next level, but you've got them ready, you've got them prepared so that it doesn't come as a massive shock and they know what they need to do. It's, you know, if you've had that level of consistency and now you've started to gain that audience, you just need to maintain that level of consistency and you should be fine. So it's good to see that these producers at whatever level they're at, they've got that support and they know what they need to do to keep growing as well. Just building on that. Some of them it's getting that consistency in the first place, and some of it is just getting the music ready. Some of them have got the music ready, but some of them got some amazing music, but they haven't got enough going on that the right labels will pick that amazing music up. So it's kind of building some stuff around that, getting their what's going on for them going, so that when we send this bigger music out that's really, really good, then it gets picked up by the right labels, so it propels them in the right direction, you know? Yeah. And speaking about consistency, would you find that, I guess, some artists are scared to put out music too frequently, or they sit on tracks for a long time? Do you find that some of the artists that come to you have something similar to that, where they say, Grahame, I've got 10 tracks, but I don't know what to put out next. I don't know what ones I feel are good enough. Have you ever had to just turn around and say, just put it out, just stop sitting on it, just start getting them out there?
So, do you know what? A lot of the time there's a lot of music across multiple genres, and it's deciding what's going to push them forward right now and what's going to continue to be consistently pushing them forward, and what is the music they've just made for themselves to enjoy, and they've made it because they like that sound of music, but it isn't going to actually help their career at this stage. Like there's music, you can make music, like make as much music as possible, but you want certain things to go in the right direction, you know. And if you're a house DJ and you're making house music, but then all of a sudden one day you decided, right, I made this techno track, great, but you don't have to release that techno track. You can just make it because you like making music, and that's, you know, what you're doing, and you don't have to release everything you make, you know.
Totally. It's
and it's trying to break that down into, right, what is right for this, you as an artist, and what is just your fun music that you're going to play. Maybe you play it in your sets at the end of your set, and it's you sit on it for the next 4 years because that's your techno phase in 4 years' time, you know.
Yeah, totally. And fun is the most important part here. If you're not having fun, you're probably in the wrong industry. You don't get into this to make money. I had a conversation with a good friend of mine years ago, and I said, look, if I got into DJing to become a millionaire, I would have quit years ago. I got into it because I enjoyed playing music. And then the same with production. I said I would have quit years ago if I was just doing this for the money. I do it for the love. I did it to make music that I could play in my sets, and I enjoyed making.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's good to hear you saying that as well. And like you said, you might have another genre of music that you create as well that you don't necessarily release, but you could have it sitting there, and it may be worth putting that out as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just keep the music that's keeping the stuff that's moving forward.
Definitely,
because you don't want to confuse a fan base. If you're building momentum, it's like you release 2 really good house tracks, and then all of a sudden this mad techno track. You're not going to keep that consistency with a small fan base. Maybe once you've got a bigger fan base, then go for your life. But because your fans will have more wider tastes. But when you're new and you're small, just keep consistency up. Yeah,
that's it. And as you grow, I'd love your opinion on this, but in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with having an alias and putting music out under a different name and keeping that separate. I mean, yeah, you can tell people, hey, I make a different type of music under another name. You can go check it out here. But at least your existing followers won't open up their release radar on Spotify and go, what has Grahame done? What is this?
Exactly.
This isn't my jam. I don't know if I want to follow him anymore. Instead, you've got that consistency. And like you said, especially in the early stages, you don't want to shock people too much by doing something completely different. And I mean, we're not talking about going from like a funky house to a tech house track. We're talking about perhaps going from funky house to making a
drum and bass.
Yeah, a heaving drum and bass banger or something like that, where people are not going to be ready for it. So
yeah, subtle moves across subgenres is fine, but just when it's big changes, like big techno, tech from house to techno, there's too much, it's just, and with the alias thing, like, yes, you can have an alias, but at the moment it's when you're small and you're just starting, focusing all your energy in one alias and one you, and because with another alias, you've got to have another set of socials and another set of things going on, and it's a lot of artists when they're small find hard to find the content for themselves. If they've got to do it for 2 lots of artists, it's just a lot of time you're using when you don't need to be.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point, because when you are starting out, you really need to be, we're always getting better every time. We're always learning. We're always growing. And especially in those early stages, if you're not focusing 100% of your attention in the music that you're creating and obviously that audience, then you are going to start seeing some consistency drop off, and you are going to see some of that audience drop off as well. Once you become more established, that's when you can see artists getting to the point where they don't release a track for 2 years. And then when they do, everyone loses their mind and gets all excited. But if I released one track today and it blew up, and then 2 weeks later it started to fizzle down, nobody's going to remember me in 1 or 2 years' time. But if I'd done 5 tracks that had done that, put out an album, the album went well, and then maybe did a little tour and then took a break, that's a different story.
Yeah, agreed.
So what would you say are some of the biggest lessons that either you or your artists learnt in 2019, whether it was relating to social media or music production, and anything that you'd like to share?
My continual one is just I need to believe in myself more and my own ability, and don't be really worried what other people are thinking. Like, I constantly think I should be going live more, and I need to just pull my finger out and stop procrastinating. I love that I launched my podcast last year, which you are gladly a guest on, and that was a big thing. And it kind of I've been procrastinating on that for a year and a half, and I shouldn't have done. I should have just jumped in and done it. Starting stuff just because it's going to be shit at the start, just get on with it, and start putting stuff out, because it's, even if it's shit, it's going to get better. I learned a lot about video, which is cool. And just, I learned a lot about art, like, I guess, kind of manage, like having artists, how artists maneuver, how kind of to keep them motivated, how to, it was a fun year. It was a really fun year.
Yeah. It's funny looking back on 2019 and all of the changes that happened. It's hard to sort of pick one key change to share. I mean, we're talking things like TikTok really took over as far as a way to, I mean, it's crazy. There could be a song that hasn't even been added to radio and isn't even necessarily on all of the streaming platforms yet, but everybody already knows it because they've all heard the same 10 seconds of it on loop to some crazy video on TikTok. So it's really interesting to see all these different and creative ways that people are going about getting their music out there. And I know a lot of it, people go, oh, it looks like that was a fluke. That was just right place, right time. And look, that's very, very rare. There is strategy involved. I always say when it looks like a release came out overnight on Apple Music and Spotify and everywhere else, that's really not the case. They just didn't tell anyone it was coming out. There was, 6 months, maybe even more of preparation where they had that song ready. It was already mastered. The artwork was done. Mm-hmm. They delivered it early and they set it up. And that's how they got all these banners on all the homepages and they got editorial playlists and everything else. And I say to artists in the early stages, that's not a good thing. You need to be prepared. People need time to hear that music before release. So don't go thinking that overnight success is always going to happen. It can, but it's very rare and you can't rely on that. That's why you always need to be prepared. And that's what I love about all of your content online is that you are just dishing it out constantly and just saying, here's how you can be prepared. Here's how you can be ready. If you have that track that is going to get people's attention, make sure that when they hear it, they know where else to find you online. What's your social media look like? Are all the links correct? Do you have a website? Have you claimed your profile on Spotify? Have you got a playlist with all of your other tracks on there so people can keep listening? And all of this stuff that, sometimes we forget. Sometimes nobody's told us before. So, I'm very appreciative of you for doing that. And your videos are very informative.
Thank you. Well. They're getting better. They're slowly getting better. They are. They're taking more time on it. I definitely. Right at the start, there was a lot of stopping and starting and refilming, and there's a lot of it now where I'm kind of doing it in one take, which is cool. Which just takes less time. Yeah. The editing's getting better. Like I interviewed David Guetta last year, which was incredible. Which was scary as hell, but it taught me a lot, which was fun. I'm definitely going to do more video this year. This week has definitely been like a backlog. Clear all the backlog videos. I'm doing lots of unboxings this week. I'm testing out headphones and testing out bits of kit that I didn't test out last year. So I can get back into the more informative stuff next week, which is cool. Very cool.
It's funny, you kind of got my interest there for a second with something you said as well. Not that you lost my interest, of course, but when you're talking about these new products, microphones, headphones and such, are you going to be doing unboxing videos?
Yeah, I've done a few already. I did this mic, which is really cool. These headphones I'm wearing now, I'm doing it at the moment. This is why I'm testing these out. I've got them on because I'm testing them. I've done. What else have I done? I've got some other. I'm surrounded by headphones in my office at the moment because I've got 2 pairs I've got to unbox. I've done a few. I've done a few little things. I've done some controllers. I've done lots of headphones. I seem to be the headphone tester at the moment.
It's so satisfying, and I don't know what it is. It's just, you can go online and see what's in the box, and it will show you what you get in the box. But just that excitement of seeing the box open for the first time, seeing how it's packaged, it's really addictive.
Yeah, I'm doing these AI headphones, and their packaging is it's like Apple's packaging. It's right. So incredible. Like every part of the headphone is packaged individually, so you have to pull each, and you have to build them all in one session. and they're completely like you literally plug the speaker into the cup, put it on the band. They're one of the best they're so incredible headphones, but the packaging is like Apple's, and it's all lovely, and everything's like vacuum packed sealed bags, and I'm excited to undo those later.
Very cool. Well, I'm glad you share that level of excitement, and I'm glad you are doing those unboxing videos, even if it's just for me, for my own personal enjoyment.
I'm not very good at them, but again, it's kind of like I get the products, and it takes me ages because it's like I have to build up the I don't know, just nerve to kind of actually unbox them and talk about products that I'm probably well out of my league to talk about, but it's always fun.
Yeah, but look, I mean, people don't always want a really detailed review. You know, they're going to let their own ears decide what headphones work best for them. But yeah, seeing that box open, seeing what's in there, seeing how it's presented and packaged, it's exciting.
Yeah, cool.
So yeah, what other? I try not to use the word content too much because it's so broad, but what else can we expect to see from you this year? I mean, obviously we just said there'll be more unboxing videos. You mentioned that you're getting more confident, not more confident, but you're starting to do videos in one take now, which means less editing, which means probably more videos coming out, explainer videos, how-tos, things like that.
There's definitely more how-tos. I'm building a member section for data transmission, which is going to be, I'm building up a whole member section, which is going to be house all of my content. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be part of the website. So you'll be able to just go in, log in, and there'll be everything from running ads to building playlists to making your SoundCloud do amazing things, to using things like Hyped It, to setting up your Spotify for everything will be in one place. Mm-hmm. And it's trying to like build it. That's the next thing on my filming list is to work out a list of those things I want to film. Like I've been testing lots of stuff. I'm testing out story ads for Instagram and trying to get those working. I've been just loads of stuff to build your profile and build yourself as an artist. So that's all going in the member section. I was supposed to launch it at the beginning of November, and we're now obviously 2 months later and it's still not launched. So it's taking a lot longer than I thought. So that is the priority for January. I want to try and get that launched in January. Awesome. I look forward to seeing that. And then the rest of the year, is just a continuation of we're going to keep rolling this content out as much as possible across as many platforms as possible. The podcast will keep growing. The YouTube channel will keep growing. The normal data transmission stuff, which is supporting artists and putting out music and putting out mixes and putting out content, is just continuation. You know, I've launched a new techno channel which is called Nude on SoundCloud, which is literally just for techno that kind of goes a lot. Great description. I'm not really into the melodic techno sort of thing, but I am really into techno that just goes. So that's what that channel's about. Yeah, and the radio. We're growing the radio station. We'll be doing. We're growing that a load this year. We're hopefully going to put some systems in to help that grow, which would be good. And taking on more radio shows because we've got the ability to do it. We just need the systems in place to make it possible. So yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting 2020. I'm excited. Year 12 data transmission. Yeah, it doesn't sound like you're showing any signs of slowing down. No, I've had that break, and I'm like, let's just get cracking now. You know. You know what blows my mind is you said at the start about what a normal day looks like for you, and most people it's working 9 to 5. You're literally 5 to 9. Yeah. You get up and you're on, and then you get off and you go to sleep. Yeah, like I work with my other half, so it's like we're seeing each other all day, which is one of the best things in the world. So and we work from our house. So it's like, yeah, we can get a lot done in a week, you know. And as long as you're full of energy, then it's let's just crack on, you know. I do stop I have my daughter lots of the time, so I stop for her, and she just gets my complete attention because she's like everything stops for her. But it's a nice place to be in, you know. If you're flying, I can do lots of hours in the week and get lots achieved, you know. But then when you start getting tired, I rest my body. I've learned to understand like when I'm tired, just to stop and rest. I rest on Sundays as always. I try to switch everything off on Sundays. Yeah, one thing I want to do this year is get back on the dance floor a bit. I neglected it a bit last year. Mm-hmm. and just get back on the dance floor. I missed a lot of friends last year because I was just focusing on business. So I want to, that is definitely a goal for this year. Return myself to the dance floor.
Awesome. And when you say that, are you talking about local gigs, or have you got some festivals in mind that you would travel to go and attend?
I'm going to pick one a month, I think, or a couple of months where I'm just going to go to. I haven't really looked at festivals yet. I'm just thinking more January, February, March. I definitely support local where I am here. Like where I'm based in Milton Keynes, it's outside of London, so there's a definite supporting for. Like, I help all the shows around here and help all the local artists around here as much as humanly possible, and they all know I'm here to help them if they need it, and really help our real local scene here. You know.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's really important, supporting your local scene as well. It's cool to go out and see those artists when they're playing around the world, but they need support locally first so that they can also get to that next level.
Well, for us, it's like the local scene here was always really, really good, and it was always good in the rave days, and there were some really big nights there when it was raving, and then a few years ago it just dropped off completely, and now we've got kind of like maybe one or two venues, and that is it for the whole town. And it's trying to like build those back up and build up the artists around them, and so we have our own local talents. And yes, it's going to be a lot of work for Milton Keynes, but I'm definitely dedicated to helping it happen for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.